we have to add the agenda? Have you looked at your email lately?
I looked at it yesterday, but there wasn't any emails. Apparently stuff has changed.
All right, it is 5:30. We will get started. I'd like to call to order our April 13th, 2023 West Fargo Library Board meeting. We'll take quick attendance. Larry?
Here.
Tony? Here. Alana?
Here.
And me was here with Mandy absent. So the next thing on the agenda is approve the order of the agenda. I would like to add to for a last item on the agenda, the email regarding Betty's resignation that we just got a little bit ago. So I'd like to add that to the agenda. Are there any other items to add to the agenda? Okay. Hearing none, do we have an approval for the order of the agenda?
Move to.
Second.
Okay, we have a move and a second. Very quickly, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Order agenda passes with the addition of an agenda item. Next, we have the consent agenda to approve the following: the approval of the minutes from our March meeting, and then approval of our financial reports. Go for it. Okay, thanks, Tony. I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes. We will move on to, we do have old business, so update voting language for legal representation. And it is an action item. Would you like to tell us more, Betty? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so at the last meeting, we had an approval for.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to find the exact language for it. One clarification is that it was asked if this council representation would interfere with the overall city council legal representation. It does not. In fact, it is the proper order for us to seek counsel and then use them as backup for that council, given what this situation is. And that's per John Shockley. So what this adjustment that's needed is to reflect the newest information that we have, which is that board members actually cannot be represented under legal statute that is outlined in the email that I sent out shortly after our meeting and got clarification from the person who added it to the Excel sheet. That I don't have pulled up at the exact language, but it is in that email for you all. So essentially, the language that you're looking to say is for one of you to move that the board, or that the library engage in the law firm and legal counsel regarding HB 1205 and SB 2360, instead of the board, just have it be the staff.
Okay, I'll make a motion to have the library staff,
Seek legal representation.
seek legal representation for both the House bill and the Senate bill that is at the North Dakota legislature currently.
I'll second that motion, and I have a question.
Okay,
What about the board?
that's a great question.
Okay.
It's in the Century Code that board cannot be seek legal counsel. I think it's because the board isn't the ones who would be, as I said in the presentation, it would be essentially me going to court and fighting it. It wouldn't be the board on behalf of the staff. The staff are the ones who are doing the act. The board is not in that regard held
weird.
liable.
That's weird.
I agree.
Because we're,
But according to
you're
Century
your
Code, it's
employer.
not. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Would it be covered
narrows
under,
eyes uncomprehendingly.
Did you talk to John about that? How, if something were to come at the board, how we would be covered?
I did not. I can ask him after this meeting for clarification on what exactly the board would.
Specifically, we need to find out, because it might be covered under directors and officers insurance, which the city should be carrying
And
under
I believe
us.
that is
asked- That was one of the
why.
questions I asked before I joined the board. So we can specifically ask regarding that, and fingers crossed, that's the case, because I think that all bets are off when it comes to these measures that are happening, and I want to make sure that we are protected.
I would agree.
I believe that is what it's covered under, but I can confirm it with John.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Just because they can't doesn't mean they won't try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any other questions? We did have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. On to new business. Our first action item under new business is the reciprocal borrowing policy.
So this is in reciprocity with Fargo and Lake Agassiz, Laurel, Lake Agassiz Regional Library Consortium. So first, we'd like to request that if this is approved, that it would have an effective date of May 1st, just so we can get our database in compliance to make this a smooth transition from the staff side. So that would be the first caveat. The second part is that it's primarily the only change, large impact change that we have is the removal of our online resource access. Currently, we have it to where both Laurel and FPL can receive our Hoopla and our Libby and our database access, which we are finding that our Hoopla cost in particular is exceeding our anticipated for this fiscal year. So we're curbing that right now, and that is one of the areas that we hope will alleviate that cost, is updating this policy. And it is reflective of policies that are shared with both Laurel and FPL. So nothing is out of line with what those policies currently are for reciprocity for our patrons to use their services as well. Is there any questions regarding the policy?
All right, I don't hear any questions. I make a motion to approve the reciprocal borrowing policy.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. That policy passes. Next, we have library card policy as an action item.
So this was presented to you guys in 2022. However, there's been an update to the system that we are just trying to address so we can move forward with that. And that is something that I've mentioned to you guys about the parental controls option. So parents have more control over their minor accounts if they so choose to not allow their minor to check out materials without them being present. This does not limit their internet access or their digital access to materials. This is strictly for the physical books and physical items that we have within the library. Those other items would need to be monitored by the parent, given that they're on devices that we don't have control over. It also clarifies what granted access on patron accounts is and the definition of how much access a parent receives versus just somebody who is granted access. And with that, we updated our library card application to clarify this further for those who are signing up for new cards, as well as returning patrons.
Does this affect, so this is for new library card holders?
Yes, the parental control option will be available to any parent, but they would have to come and, when they come and visit, we'd be able to explain that to them, that change is in effect. Marketing and all that will go out after if it is approved.
Yep. And I support it. I'm just, I know that there was lots of push over the last few years to have library cards. There was outreach to a lot of schools.
Yep, it would go into effect with the new school year card
Okay.
being sent out. Those forms are updated as well.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. And, sorry, any opposed, same sign. Library card policy passes. Next on our agenda is FMLA discussion.
So it's come to my attention that in the current employee handbook, FMLA is not covered. What it is stated is that it, and I haven't talked to anybody at City Hall about this. This is something that I want to present to you guys as an option first before I present it to them. But in the legal side of it, it is up to the employer if FMLA is covered after 1 year of employment for full-time, part-time, any staff. And currently, we do have staff who are inquiring about FMLA, and if they use up all their vacation and their sick time, they don't have any financial stability going forward. This is a cause of concern for me, overseeing staff. I want them to be able to supplement their life and not worry about that when they're facing some other difficulties that are on top of that. I don't want it to be a financial difficulty. So the question was if you guys were to make a motion to approve for library staff specific to be covered for FMLA after 1 year of employment at their rate of employment until FMLA is depleted. Because the other option that they have in the handbook is to request for vacation donations from other staff. And that too can lead to, in my personal opinion, it sort of borders on HIPAA to be inquiring for that sort of support when you're facing possibly medical situations. So this would be just to give that one extra level of support to staff during difficult times. If it is approved, then I would present it to the city that it was approved, and just for them to approve it from the city side, that they approve that the library has taken this action. Essentially, because they are also city employees, but I'm employed by you guys, I don't want it to be that the director gets something and then the staff don't. I'm trying to alleviate that going forward.
Can you tell me exactly what the request is?
For you guys to approve pending city commission approval that full-time or all library staff after 1 year of service would receive full FMLA benefits covered.
Okay. I would like to discuss with HR. I mean, yes, we do make decisions, but HR has assisted us in many decisions along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like,
I'd like to table it upon further information.
okay, are you going to seek out HR, or should we get a list of questions ready for Betty to submit to HR?
Well, I think we need a written request.
Sure.
I mean, this is,
And it just,
it's
I think
good
it is-
information, but it's a very loose conversation to take action on right now. I don't have the city handbook. I
Right.
don't understand what part-time and full-time employees get at the city level. And personally, I mean, it's from a business decision. I have also used family medical leave, and I have not been able to, so I understand
Yeah.
the need for it, but fiscally, we need to make sure it's realistic and that we aren't doing anything, is my opinion, that the city would not agree to.
And that's why I just put it as a discussion. It's
Yep.
not that it needs an action, but if an action were to be taken, that was what the request would be. So I understand completely.
Does anybody else have thoughts?
No, I think my thought was around talking to HR, looking at what is consistent across the city, and how can we be more consistent then with our
Yes.
staff.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys want to supply me with any inquiry questions, or Alana, if you want to partner with me.
Yeah, I'll take the lead on that, and I'll email you some questions. I'll CC you on it. Just to make sure that
Yeah, because
we
this
have
is new
coverage. And then when
territory
there's
for
more
me.
answers, I'll give the information to everybody, but to start with, and so if you guys have any thoughts or questions, please share.
I'll second Alana's motion to table.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to table pending further information. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next, we have director's report.
And hello over here. All right. Oops. And 1 second. Okay. So as you can see, we had 2 of our lovely managers on North Dakota today. They were speaking about the Mad Hatter Tea Party and March Madness events that we had going on. It was very successful. Just some of these trustee notes that I wanted to point out to you. CDs are being requested. That was something very interesting. We're going to investigate a little bit more on what they were looking for with CDs and if it's music that's possibly available in Hoopla or what services we can provide around that. But I just thought that it was an interesting one to note. I know, and those 8 tracks and yep. A second issue, this one is more of a concern that we have been addressing over the past couple of months, but the hotspots have been an issue, and we have been working with IT. I just wanted to make that known. There was a lot of controls that had to be given and granted to the library, which we have now resolved, and now it's moving forward. IT is willing to work in partnership with us to alleviate all of those hotspot issues that we can control. So we're hoping that that will not be an issue going forward. The note on the right-hand side there, I thought was very interesting because it was from a resident of multiple North Dakota cities stating that West Fargo is the best library that they've been to. So I just wanted to give staff that little recognition that across the board, they're doing phenomenal work, and it's recognized by those who use other services as well. We have, as you experienced a little bit today, we have been having Wi-Fi connectivity issues. IT is aware of this, and it is something that they're combating and working towards fixing in the near future. We have now started IT ticket tracking internally, so I can get an overall view of what IT tickets have been in waiting and what ones have been cleared and the time frames and what's being taken care of at what rate. And that's been helpful for me to help staff get resolutions to issues in a more timely manner. I just wanted it noted that wheelchair-bound patrons have continued to express frustrations with the elevator situation, especially even though we've removed the barrier for large prints and other materials. Now, this big hindrance that we have is that the restrooms are still only on the 2nd floor. So just going forward, keeping that in mind. There is a new leak in the entryway. I'm getting an update on that on Monday. It was due to all the snow melting. We just don't know where it came from and if they are patching it or what the remedy will be at this time. We did get new grant-funded launch pads for the bus and the internal circulation. The meeting room usage is up, and the community is really benefiting from having open meeting room access, as well as having it being very clear. So I appreciate you guys approving that policy a little while back. We had 36 hours of continuing education with staff, and it's been quite phenomenal. The program assistant and library assistant positions are still open and seeking candidates for applications. So if you know anybody, let them know that we're hiring at the library. The collections so far are entering into a weeding phase, and we are re-genrifying the stickers on the books per patron request as well as staff request. They'll still be interfiled. It's just one of the next projects that we have going on is relabeling in general in the entire library, starting with the fiction collection and adult. For House Bill 1205 and Senate Bill 2360, as of today, there has been an update to Senate Bill 2360 to exclude the state library. We don't know what that means exactly down the line for us. If that accounts for interlibrary materials, are we held accountable or liable? So it's unclear on our end what that impact is. However, again, it's very fresh information, but I wanted to keep you up to date on that. And House Bill 1205, from what I'm aware, has yet to move, so we're keeping an eye on that every day. I did want to highlight that everything is up as far as circulation, and if you look at that March circulation number, 11,000 is pretty phenomenal as a number to see. I was pleasantly surprised, and the Hoopla and Overdrive numbers, again, are up, and that's wonderful to see. But we want to make sure that the money is being spent in the right places. And Hoopla is a pay-as-you-check-out service, and Libby is you pay one fee and it's done. So we are addressing that through marketing, and the feedback so far we've gotten is overall positive from the community. They were unaware of how these payments were different and how these services were different. And that enlightenment is aided in their ability to understand our moves going forward. For Hoopla, we did most recently, and this is new news as of this past week, we are shifting from allowing just 8 checkouts anytime to putting a spending cap on each day to stay within our budget. And so at the end of our cap for that day, user will get a notification if they try to check out that says, unfortunately, all checkouts are used for the day, come back tomorrow, and they can come back tomorrow. It allows for them to prioritize the materials that they want to read next or want to view next, and then allows us to stay within our budget limits. We are at 20% of our financial spending for the year, which is pretty good. We're 5% under where we should be. The annual report has been submitted, and we will be getting you a full annual report shortly. As you can see, there's Lauren with our youth at a Lego challenge. It was to build something that can fly, and so she was trying to show them, give them hints on different things to do. And it was a wonderful success. We've been having a good problem where there's so much turnout to our events that we are having to open up other rooms, or having the downside is to turn people away. We are working on strategies to not have that option be utilized by incorporating more seating spaces out of the halls of those rooms, and going forward, seeing if registration is an option. The only downside is when you do registration, people often don't turn up, or you're doing a lot of back-end work on staff side of calling to check in, see who's coming, and then the wait list people, checking in with them, and you aren't getting the same numbers of turnout as if it's just open. So we don't want to limit people coming with mixed messaging, so we're trying to be strategic in that way. The Little Red Reading Bus will be making visits for National Library Week if it is available out of the Public Works. There has been some issues going on with the facility that it was stored in, so we're waiting to hear back if it's going to be able to make its debut. If it does not, that's all right. We have a backup of using West Fargo branded vehicles and still utilizing our flags and things like that. The bus itself is fine. It's the facility that it's stored in has to be evaluated before it can move. And then for the adult side, same thing. We're having really good turnout to all of the events that we've been having, even when they've been rescheduled, such as the Organize and Declutter Your Home program. Kirsten has been doing a wonderful job of having service desk meetings, and from those meetings and her own evaluations, understanding where things can be improved, and that includes from the staff side as well as the patron side. So most recently, we approved for the reshuffling of that whole service desk to make it more streamlined for our staff and more easy for service to be provided in an efficient and timely manner. And I'm very, very excited to see how that all plays out in real time. And the book clubs are going strong, as well as special programs coming up. The AARP partnership that we've had has had some good turnout, and it's going to continue to be a partnership that will be bringing events in partnership with the library. And that's what I have for you guys. And just wanted to mention that the adult librarian as well as the full-time program assistant have officially hit their 1 month mark. So they're doing wonderful in their position as well.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Betty? All right. And we did have just then the one added agenda item. So just a little bit prior to the meeting, we did receive an email from Betty with her letter of resignation. I am so sorry to hear that, Betty.
I want to stress that it's not an easy decision at all. It is strictly a family circumstance that is requiring this change for me and my family. And it's been a very hard past couple of days to have to say that I won't be able to be here much longer. In the letter, I did specify that May 19th would be my final day. That is a Friday. And I would hope that you guys would allow for Kirsten Hennigan to be the interim director rather than what was done previously for continuity's sake and due to her phenomenal leadership that she has shown under my time here. She is more than qualified in my eyes to be able to do the job and do it successfully as an interim. And I have spoken with her, and she, if it is voted to allow that her as interim, that she would accept. She is also present if you have any questions for her. But I do want to say thank you again for the opportunity, and it's been so phenomenal and such a wonderful time that I've had representing the library as well as West Fargo General. It's a wonderful community, and I am very sad to have to say I have to go from it. So,
Thank you. So discussion, questions, I do think we have to go through a couple action items tonight. To one, accept the resignation, two, to ask for the position to get posted, and then three, to talk about and name an interim or next steps.
I'll move to accept the resignation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the resignation. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
I'll move to ask the city to please let us initiate a search.
Okay, so we have a motion to initiate the search.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
We do need an interim. We
We
learned that
do.
lesson last
We
time.
absolutely do.
With Betty's recommendation, I move to appoint, I'm going to say it wrong now, Kirsten. I said it really quietly. to interim director until the position is filled.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Wait, I
Oh,
do,
yeah,
I
you
do have a question. in the past, it's been a while since we've had an interim. I don't know if somebody needs to contact HR regarding pay, if there's a different scale, can you
There
address
is,
that?
she would take over the salary that I currently have, and Jenna, HR is aware of, she received the letter as well, and we will be talking after this meeting, but that is the standard
Okay.
protocol.
And so do we need to choose a start date for that position?
So Betty's last day is May 19th.
Yep.
What do you propose the start date be?
May 18th.
What is, I mean,
Director.
I don't, traditionally, what has happened? The following week. I'm just going to repeat what you're saying so that it's recorded. Complete her term and then. So you would start on May 22nd. Okay, so
But what about the weekend?
That's actually fair. You could say effective at 5 PM on May 19th that she takes over, because technically you're on call all the time. Well, no, you're set.
what are your thoughts?
I think it should be like 5:30 on May 19th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree.
So I move to appoint Kirsten, oh gosh. That name stresses me out so much every time I read it. I move to appoint Kirsten as interim director at 5 PM or end of the workday on May 19th.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Betty, do you think there's anything else we need to act on currently?
Not that I'm aware, but if anything comes up and we need a meeting, I will let you
Please
guys
let us
know
know.
as soon as I know.
Again, we're sorry to see your departure, but understand. So, thank you. All right. Any other comments, questions?
Move to adjourn.
I'll,
Oh,
We beat Larry to it.
I know, you gotta be quicker here. Is that a second, Larry?
No,
Tony got it. Okay, Tony got it. We have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.